Hi everyone, Matt Watson here from CarWow. The old Ford Bronco was one of the most iconic off-roaders ever created. In that way, it's a lot like the Land Rover Defender. But the Bronco is more like a big old slice of apple pie. Sorry about that accent. Than the Defender, which is more like tea and crumpets, dear. Both of these have been revamped for 2020, but which is the best? Well, I'm going to pitch them head to head across 10 categories to find out which is shaping up to be the ultimate off-roader.
Buying a new car? Head to CarWow to get offers from the UK's top dealers. carwow.co.uk, the car buying comparison site.
Let's start off with the looks. Both cars do a really good job of making retro designs look super modern, and you're never going to mistake them for a Kia Sorento now, are you? But I reckon the Bronco looks the best if you stick the two side by side. It's tougher and more aggressive than the Defender, which is very difficult for me to say as a British person. Oh well. See, I'm not partisan. Anyway, I reckon it's just more recognisable too, and not just because it says Bronco in huge letters on the grille, but yeah, that does help. I love its boxy looks, especially from the side. It's a bit like the new G-Wagon, and those massive wheel arches look like they've been pinched off a monster truck. Both cars get a spare wheel bolted on the boot lid because you can't have a proper off-roader without one of those now, can ya? But which do you think looks the best, the Bronco or the Defender? What I'm going to do is put a comment pinned below the video where you can vote by liking the comment either Bronco or Defender. That's the way we've got to vote now because bloody YouTube has got rid of the old click up there to vote poll. Apparently no one else used it even though we did. Buggers. Let's move on to the interior. The new Bronco's interior is inspired by what you got in the old truck, apparently. Well, besides the infotainment system, that obviously is completely new. Ford even trimmed the cabin with materials that'll match the sort of lifestyle-y clothing it reckons you're going to wear when you drive the car. Although they were probably thinking of leather chaps and a Stetson and not some high-vis hiking coat. The Defender's cabin looks pretty similar to the Bronco's. It's all about flat surfaces and simple shapes. But the Defender's interior is all dark and moody inside, you know, to make it feel more expensive. Pretty much like every other Land Rover then, really. Oh well. You can get both cars with wiped down interior bits so you won't ruin the carpet after a muddy hike. But you can bet the Defender's cabin feels just a bit posher than the Bronco's. Now let's compare them off-road. Ford makes loads of SUVs that are designed for the school run. There's the EcoSport, EcoSport, they're trying to kid, the Puma, the Cougar, the Edge, there's loads of them. But the Bronco's all about doing proper, manly, or womanly, or personally, off-roading. I'm trying to stay woke. Anyway, so it gets four-wheel drive as standard, just like the Land Rover then, and a 2-speed transfer box, so you've got a low range mode as well. This gives you a super low gear you can use for crawling up really steep slopes. There's also a solid rear axle for better suspension articulation. You also get locking front and rear diffs in every single Bronco available, and something called the GOAT switch, or G-O-A-T. It doesn't give it horns and a taste for your flower patch. It stands for goes over any terrain. It's basically a load of driving modes with settings for sand, mud and rock crawling. The Defender gets a bunch of driving modes too, and you can get both cars with a special off-road cruise control system to help you go safely down difficult slopes. Tried it in the Defender, it's really good. You can also get the Defender with special off-road tyres, but they're nothing on the Bronco's massive 35-inch tyres. Who said size isn't everything? Certainly not an American, they wouldn't have said that, it's probably a British person. Sure, these tyres, they ain't standard, but they do come as part of the Sasquatch pack. Yeah, that's seriously what it's called. I don't even know if I pronounced it correctly. Let me know in the comments below if you're American. And you can use the Bronco's standard alloys with aftermarket bead locks to stop the tyres being ripped off over really rocky terrain. Speaking of off-roading, click on the pop-out banner up there to watch me test 3 old cars to destruction in a series of off-road challenges. It's really fun, check it out. You'll be amazed at what you can do off-road in normal cars, believe me. Anyway, moving on to the doors. The Bronco always used to be a 2-door truck, but you can get the new model with 2 or 4 doors. The same goes for the Defender. Although Land Rover has been building 4-door versions of its Defender from about the time the dinosaurs were around. What's special about the Bronco is that you can also get it with no doors, just like a Jeep Wrangler. Okay, you have to get out a spanner and bolt them, and you can get rid of the whole roof if you fancy, and Ford will sell you a soft top if you don't fancy going completely topless. This must be great in California, but I can't really see it working so well in Birmingham on a wet day. You know, you'd probably want a Defender for that. Yeah, it's more suitable for Birmingham. That's where they make them as well, some of them. Well, that's where they originated from. I don't know what I'm going on about or why I'm talking like this. Let's move on quickly. The Bronco is American, so it has to come with a V8, right? Well, no, actually. It gets a 2.3 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine. It's the same one you get in the Mustang, so it produces 270 horsepower, which isn't too bad. If you want more grunt, there's also a 2.7 litre V6 with 310 horsepower. But if it's outright power you're after, you're going to want the Defender. That's available with a 400 horsepower 3 litre 6-cylinder petrol, and you can get the Defender with a bunch of torquey diesel engines for pulling trailers and stuff. You can't get the Defender with a manual gearbox like you can the Bronco though, and that gearbox actually has 7 gears, which is quite unusual. Of course, you can take the easy route and get an automatic instead, and that has 10 speeds, which is probably better for some lazy off-roading. If you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can see what happened when I put an AMG G63 against a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon and little Suzuki Jimny through a series of challenges on an off-road course. It's one of my favourite videos actually, go check it out. If you don't want to, just stay here. Anyway, let's move on and talk about sport. Land Rover likes to call the lesser versions of its cars sport. For instance, there's the Range Rover Sport, which is a cheaper version of the big Range Rover. And then there's the Discovery Sport, which is the smaller, cheaper version of the big Discovery. Now Ford's getting in on the action because it's made the Bronco Sport. It's not just some rebadged Cougar though, it's still a pretty serious off-roader, only it's an off-roader that's aimed at families rather than farmers. It comes with a 2 litre petrol engine with up to 245 horsepower, and it gets an 8-speed automatic gearbox with 4-wheel drive. And all models still come with that all-important GOAT switch. However, it doesn't get the fancy low-range transfer box like the proper Bronco or the regular Bronco's meaty axles. And you can't take the roof off nor unbolt the doors either. But you can get it with some beefy 29-inch off-road tyres if you want to look the part on the school run. Now we need to talk about practicality. The Land Rover Defender is a very spacious, practical SUV, but the Bronco has it beat for outright space. You can cram 176 litres of stuff in a Defender 90, but the Bronco can swallow a whopping 668 litres. It's the same story with the 4-door models. A Defender 110's boot capacity is 499 litres, whereas the Bronco 4 doors is 1008 litres. The Bronco also comes with loads of neat features. I love the sliding rail on the dashboard that lets you mount phones, a sat-nav, or a bunch of cameras. It means you'll never need to use any of those annoying suction cups on the windscreen again. And there's the grid-like design on the back of the front seats that you can clip stuff to. It's a bit like Batman's utility belt. And those metal rings on the Bronco's bonnet, they're not just for show. Ford says they're specifically there so you can put a canoe on the roof and tie it down. Each one is strong enough to hold 68 kilograms. That's like having a hitchhiker dangling from each side of your car. You know, for social distancing reasons. Obviously it's a hitchhiker in the UK. No one weighs as little as 68 kilos in America, not even the babies. Sorry, Americans. That was kind of unfair, but true. Now we come to customization. Very important on these kind of cars these days. And Ford says you'll be able to fit your Bronco with more than 200 official accessories. I won't bore you by going through them all here, but some of the coolest ones are the open air doors. These are like standard doors, but with a big hole cut out of the middle. Probably so you can tan your knees as you drive along. You can also get a roof rack with struts that bolt onto the bonnet, and there are beefier bumpers too with extra underbody protection. You can also fit a bunch of light bars for hunting and shooting. Yeehaw! Terrible American accent. I promise I won't do it again. Anyway, you can also get an extendable tailgate that you can slide out so you can get things out of the boot without having to unload it completely. The Defender comes with some cool features too, like the roof ladder and external storage pod, but these don't look anywhere near as cool as all the Bronco's accessories, do they really? Nah. Let's talk about the tech. Back in the good old days, the only tech a proper off-roader needed was a winch. Now they need to come with just as many gizmos as every other SUV. So the Bronco gets Ford's latest Sync 4 infotainment system. This comes with an 8-inch or 12-inch touchscreen depending on which spec you go for, and it gets over-the-air updates so you never need to take it to a dealer to get the latest software. Best of all, it has a special off-road sat-nav system. This uses over 1,000 trail maps to guide you off-road, and it'll warn you about really steep or rocky sections ahead. There's also a 360-degree camera system to help you avoid really sharp chunks of rock as well. You can get this in a Defender though, and the Defender comes with a 10-inch touchscreen and 12-inch digital driver's display. There's also Land Rover's terrain response system. This uses a load of sensors to detect exactly what's going on when you're off-road. Then it automatically configures the car to be set up exactly right. It's really brilliant and it works a treat off-road. It makes the job of going over rough terrain so easy. On the other hand, the Bronco is probably great if you like to do stuff more yourself, but the Defender's tech will make anyone look like a hero off-road, even me. If you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can actually see me off-roading in the new Land Rover Defender, pretty much hands-free, like with my feet in the air and my hands off the wheel and stuff. It's really quite fun. Go check it out. Finally, let's talk about the price. And I'm going to do this in dollars, and I'll explain why later. The Ford Bronco is on sale now in the US, and you can get a 4-door model for a smidge over $33,000, which sounds like pretty good value to me, especially when you consider an entry-level Defender 110 costs more than $50,000. And it's a similar story with the 2-door versions. The Defender 90 isn't available in the US yet, but you can bet your bottom dollar it'll cost more than $40,000. Meanwhile, you can get a 2-door Bronco for less than $30,000, which makes it look like the bargain of the century. The only downside, and the reason why I've been comparing prices in dollars, is because the Bronco isn't coming to the UK. Why, Ford? It looks like your best blooming car. Why can't we have it? I really reckon that Ford has missed a trick with this. Would you buy a Bronco in the UK? I'm gutted. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Let me know of any other videos you'd like to see us do in the comments below. Reviews, drag races, anything. Just let me know. If you'd like to watch some more videos, just click on the windows there. And if you'd like to download the new carwow app, just click on the box there. It's completely free. You can check out our reviews. You can also see how much money you can save on a new car. And you can use it to find out the value of your car, or any car for that matter. You just scan the car's number plate using your phone's camera and it'll tell you how much it's worth.